Hello there, welcome back to Jennie Designs with Paper. Thanks for stopping by my channel today. I'm working on an art journal page, so get comfy and let's get crafty. I will be using the February Mission Inspiration prompt. The title is Heart and Warmth. The theme is love, warmth amidst the cold, self-care, relationships. The ideas are Valentine's Day, cozy settings, flowers, foliage, and candles. The ingredients are flour, checkout receipt, Rolodex or playing cards, purple, and hexagons. So yeah, I know it's March and I'm still in February, but I'm getting there. To start today, I'm going to use my jelly plate. I'm going to create a background using purple and hexagons. I have used some craft foam and chipboard scraps to create some hexagon mark making tools or stamps, whatever you want to call them. I'm also using some new to me acrylic paint. These tubes are tubes that my husband and kids got me for my birthday in January. They are more translucent, which is obvious because you can see my mat through the paint. This is the first time I've used them on a gel printing, so it was a little bit of a learning curve. They dry really quick. Plus, when my craft room doors are shut, it gets warm, so I have the fan on. So then, of course, it's drying fast. So I first put down a layer of that dark purple. I'm adding some white over it, trying to not overblend it so it still has that texture in it. I'm terrible at that. I have a really hard time leaving it. So it was a little lighter than I wanted, and again, I overblended it, but whatever, we're going to move on. So I'm starting to use the little homemade stamps to make some hexagon marks in it, and then I realized I forgot to put the homemade handle on the back. So I just put a little piece of painter's tape with a loop in it, and that is, it works perfectly. Well, almost perfectly. Also, my camera is still wigging out. I'm not sure what it is trying to do, but whatever. I'm going to have to sit down and figure out, see if the settings got bumped or something. I'm not sure what's going on with it. It keeps trying to zoom in and zoom out and fade in and fade out. I don't know. So the first pull, I got all those hexagon marks down in that purple paint, and I smeared that on, and I rubbed, I like pressure, really added some pressure to that, and I forgot to put the lift layer on. This is clearly going to be too dry to lift anything out of because of all of the time it's been open and working, and my fan is on. So I added a layer of white acrylic paint. It's probably still a little too thin. I did the same thing, put that same paper down. I'm just going to keep working on that same paper. And exactly, it was just a little bit too dry. So I added some more purple to my gel plate and some more white. I'm going to try again to spread these around without over blending them. It's better. It's getting better. I still feel like I have to keep going. I don't know why. I'm going to go ahead and add some more hexagon marks to this, to the plate. I noticed that the paint was drying already, so I turned my fan off. I added another layer, and I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to see how fast I can go. Now, this is not real life fast. I did speed this up because it was a longer process. This is like 2 times speed. Some of the hexagons are open and some of them are solid, so I'm using a combination of both. And when I have enough of that plate covered in shapes, I'm going to add a lift layer in the white, and I'm going to put that same paper back down on top of it because it's just layers, right? It's just more and more layers, more and more texture. I mean, really looking at the page, I'm not sure how many of those hexagons you can see, but they're there. So eventually I ended up with this page, not still quite what I was looking for. So I put some more white paint on my plate. This is kind of sort of the beginning of the cleanup layer also. But again, I have to figure out how much is too much with these paints. Like when I use my distress paints, they're wetter, so a tiny, tiny, tiny bit goes a long way. These seem to be like dry a little faster. I did have 2 larger hexagons that I put on this piece, and they did not stick. So I just went ahead and used that piece of torn up chipboard off the back of that one little hexagon and brought the others in. On this white paint that is a thicker layer, you can see that it's thicker because you can't see through it. I had greater success in the mark making part of the background. So now there's tons of hexagons on there. I'm going to go ahead and put this paper back on. And this time I remembered that some of the other reels and YouTubes I've been watching, let it dry. So I used my heat tool, but I put my hand between the heat tool and the page so that I didn't overheat my gel plate. And then I let it set for a little bit longer. I really just wanted to make sure that that paint was good and dry. And you can see that it picked up a lot more detail, but it also cleaned more of that paint off of the gel plate. So off camera, I cleaned that up and I picked which section of this paper I want to use. I'm going to go ahead and trim it down wider than my piece of art journal paper that I have here. And I'm going to use some liquid glue to just glue this gel print onto this. This is a piece of mixed media paper. It is about 5.5 by 8 inches, give or take a little bit because it's hand cut off of a roll of paper. And once I have that down, I'm going to go ahead and pull my trimmer back in and trim off all of those edges. I intentionally made the gel print page larger than my final page just so that I could trim it down and have it be nice and clean. And then I can just trim off, the extra, make sure the pages are nice and the edges are nice and straight and, make it look ready to work on. I could use scissors too, but today I was in a use your trimmer kind of mode. So now that I have that all trimmed off, I am going to go ahead and use some of that black acrylic paint and my homemade stamps, mark maker tools, whatever you want, and add some hexagons to the background again. And looking at the front of the page, these are the hexagons that you see the most. But there's a few of the ones in the background that you can see, but these are definitely, because it's black, the black ink on top of the white ink, or paint rather, that's definitely what you're going to see more. That's okay. I don't hate it. It works for me. I'm using a paintbrush to add the paint to this stamp, mark maker, whatever, because it'll make a mess. If I try and just stick this right into a puddle of paint, it'll make a mess. And then, of course, because it's acrylic paint, I need to heat set that so I can move on to, whatever's next. And next is I'm going to be taking some archival ink and adding black around the edge. This is mostly because I felt like it. I don't know that it was necessary. It does kind of give it that frame so that everything is contained, and it does kind of take care of that really white space at the bottom, the paper that didn't have any paint on it. And when I was done, I decided to go ahead and spray the top of that pile of leftover ink with some alcohol. Because this is archival ink, it needs alcohol. And I'm just using that to ink splush a little bit on my page. Not terribly noticeable, but better than throwing away the ink, right? So there. Once we have that heat set, the next ingredient, I'm going to use our receipt papers. And this was like super easy. I just had to go to my purse. I have a couple from Publix. I have one from Target. I've got one from Walmart. The Target paper did not stamp very well. I pulled this old heart-shaped punch out of my punch stash, and I'm just punching a whole bunch of little hearts out of this receipt paper because, again, it's kind of got like this Valentine love kind of theme. The Walmart paper stamped just a little bit easier. You would think that all thermal papers are created equally, but clearly they are not. I am going to use some liquid medium. This is a matte medium to put the hearts onto my page. I am not taking the time to make sure that they are upright. I did make sure that the numbers were the part that was up, as opposed to like the Target logo or the Walmart logo that's on the back of the receipt. And that was just because I didn't want to add those colors to my page. I mean, the Target would have been fine, but like the blue thing from Walmart, I didn't want that on my page. So I did just make sure that the number side of the receipt paper was up. I'm also overlapping the hearts. Not super worried about that. Forgot to mute my phone there. Sorry about that. And I'm just picking them up with the paintbrush and mostly putting them where they land. There was a couple that I tried to flip back over, and that was pretty much it. Once I have these all on, I'm going to go ahead and heat set them. And I didn't like that they were white, so I'm going to pull out my Pitt pens And I'm going to grab the red, and I'm going to go ahead and in super fast motion or super fast speed, I am going to go ahead and color all of these receipt hearts red. Pitt pens are India ink, so once they are dry, they will be permanent. They're also kind of translucent, so you can still see the numbers from the receipt paper behind them, and I'm totally okay with that. Once I had all of the hearts colored red, I pulled out the black Pitt pen, and I kind of went around the hearts with a black outline, especially because there's a few that are stacked on top of each other that needed to be a little bit more defined. So when I had that all done, the next element is playing cards or Rolodex cards. I have this digital print of full-size playing cards. I just printed them on like a 60-pound cardstock. I did go around the edge with that black archival ink, and I have just the ace and the 2, and I'm going to add them to the center of my page here with some liquid glue. I'm just using this Tombow Mono liquid glue because why not? I'm not worrying about getting all the way to the edges either. I'm just adding glue to the middle in case I decide later to put something, underneath them or around them. The next element is flowers. And I have this pretty bouquet of flowers from an ephemera set that I purchased at Hobby Lobby. And I did for a minute think I needed to lift those, like put the cards up higher. And then I decided if the bouquet hung off the bottom, I would just trim the bottom off. So this in particular piece of ephemera is kind of got a shiny finish. So I added a little bit of that matte medium over the top of it just to take that shine off. I think I've probably said this about 1,000 times, but where I live, shiny elements make the pages stick together. So we're just eliminating that shine, also adding a little bit of glue underneath it to the, especially the bottom, so that it does not get ripped off the page. So I'm going to go ahead and heat set that as well. And then as a nod to Valentine's Day, I have this Valentine's Day sticker book in my stash, and it has some sentiment quotes. So I grabbed the one that says true love. I grabbed the one that says self-love because that was one of the themes in the mission prompt. And I think, especially for women, that can be really difficult. And then I grabbed the one that says be my Valentine because also that was one of the themes in the prompt card. And I put that one down here across the bottom. And the only thing left to do is to punch holes in the page and then glue the prompt card onto the back of my page, so that I will remember why I created this page. What were the steps? What was the theme? What was I trying to accomplish here? So with a little bit of Tombow glue, I went ahead and put that down, and my page is complete. So I absolutely adore the Mission Inspiration Group. I love watching Mike's videos. I also like preparing or creating my own art journal pages. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I have a couple of other videos here I think you would like as well. I also have that subscribe button. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you did. Leave me a comment down below if you want. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and have a really fabulous day.